Hello, I'm Anthony Cimolino, General Director of the Stratford Shakespeare Festival, and it is my great pleasure today to be here with Weyni Mengesha, who is one of the most promising young Canadian directors, and she is going to be making her debut here at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival this year. She's directing Michel Tremblay's iconic play, Hosanna. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Weyni, when you were approached by the festival and Des gave you a call, what was your reaction to that? I mean, how did you feel about the possibility and the different menu that he laid out in terms of what you might direct?
Well, I was really excited, first of all, to be approached. I'd seen some plays here and obviously the caliber of actors that I would be able to work with, so I was really excited. And when I read Hosanna, I was really, I know that I want to direct a play when I read a play and it lingers in my mind for days after, and this is one of those plays. I read it and 3-4 days later, it was still in my mind. And
do you remember what it was that you kept thinking about in those days that followed the reading?
Yeah, just, the play takes place in one night, but they go through such a incredible personal journey in this one night. And I just thought, how well crafted, you get to really look into somebody's personal journey, identity struggle, that it's a hard thing to look at, and he's done it, where they dredge up sort of their whole history of their lives, and it's just done so beautifully and poetically.
One of the reasons why it's so special to us at the festival, of course, is because Richard Manette played Hosanna, and of course it became a very, very important part of his life and career. And for Gareth, of course, Richard was a mentor, and so has he talked about that at all?
Definitely, it's very special to him. I know he wants to honor his mentor in that way, but he's also created quite a different role as far as just the accent. He's done it in the anglicized version.
Yes, because Richard he adopted a strong French-Canadian accent, and of course he grew up in Quebec, so it was quite close to him. But that was a definite choice that needn't be there. And so what were your thoughts on that? Did Gareth start with an accent, or?
There was talk around it,
okay.
And yeah, we ultimately felt like the play could be done in any language, and if we're doing the play in English, then that's kind of how we're going to do it all the way through, and that it resonates no matter how it's spoken. So we wanted to find something, I just wanted it to be really close to Gareth so that he could really bring himself to the project.
When this play came out, it was, I think it's fair to say, it was a bit of a shocker. Society had significantly changed in Quebec, and this play seemed to be racing ahead of even where they were at that time. And what do you think now that so many years have passed, decades have passed, times have changed, both in Quebec and obviously in society as a whole? What do you think our audiences today will get from this work?
I think it's a classic investigation into that human struggle to face who you truly are, and I think a lot of people can relate to being in a relationship, romantic or otherwise, where you conceal a part of yourself for fear that you might not be loved. So I think this is an inspiring story of how you overcome those fears.
Are there particular instances in the play in terms of that theme of revealing identity that really hit you after that initial reading and in the days since?
Yeah, and not right away. First off, I was really moved by the journey of the character, but definitely there are aspects of it that I can very personally relate to. Growing up in Vancouver, feeling maybe insecure around race and class lines, questioning whether I should shift myself in one way or the other to sort of fit in, and then learning that what could seem like a very superficial shift on the outside can have very deep internal repercussions, and that ultimately, they can take a toll on you, and you can get lost, if you start compromising who you are.
Has that been a topic of discussion in rehearsals? The parts of all of us that our own identity, our revelation of our identity?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Both, we also used on the political level, sort of what was happening in Quebec at the time. That was important for us as a research, as a backdrop for us to understand. the questions of identity that Michel was bringing up, and then also personal stories that we've been sharing with each other, just to get a sense of the stakes that we're talking about in this play.
And in the years ahead, any thoughts about kinds of work? I'm sure there's a huge amount, but are there anything that you've always wanted to do that you have not gotten a chance to do?
Well, you know, A Raisin in the Sun, which I just did 2 years ago, was the first sort of play that has been classically, or that had been written and published, that I had done. I had done a lot of new work, a lot of contemporary new work.
Right.
So this is sort of a new venture for me, doing plays that have been written before, you know.
Before you were
Before,
born? Yes, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm really loving that. I'm loving the exploration I'm doing with like sort of the Chekhov pieces that I'm reading now, and Shakespeare and August Wilson, and so yeah, I sort of think that that's the sort of the path for me for the next couple of years, while doing contemporary plays at the same time.
A bit of international development and work, or are you thinking that you will one day move back and settle in Canada?
It's hard to say. You know, I feel like it's a global world now. We kind of are based somewhere, and wherever the work takes me, I'm willing to go.
I'm glad it took you to the Stratford Festival.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Me
you.
too.